All right, let's get to the meat of the action this weekend.
This is what we were waiting for.
No two teams say college football more than Georgia and Alabama. Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, putting that 33-game home winning streak on the line. Here we go, 7 minutes in the first, and the Tide came to play early on, Matty.
I love the play design. Get the ball to Jeremy Bernard. He is that do-it-all guy for them. He's like Deebo Samuel the way that he runs with the football.
It felt like we were watching the same movie over again from last year with the way that Alabama dominated early on. That's Jeremy Bernard for the 6-yard score. Alabama quiets the crowd in Georgia, 7-0, and right back to it. Ty Simpson. That's Lotsier Brooks. Where's he from, Matty?
Oh, he's a Jersey boy.
Right. That's what I thought.
Hillville, baby, in the house.
Tide completed their first 8 straight third down conversions. Second quarter, Ty Simpson rolling out. That's Isaiah Horton. Here's a who for a 6-yard score. Tied up 14-0. All right, so here we go, Georgia. Let's find some heart in this one.
They finally got something going here. I mean, Georgia had less plays than Alabama had first downs at this point of the game.
Good route here.
Get this guy the ball more. I love Colby Young. He's a good route runner, strong at the point of attack there. Caught Jackson there sitting on the quick hitch there on the
Unfortunately, this has been a common refrain. Nate Frazier fumbling the ball. Bray Hubbard right where it comes out. Bulldogs get it to the Alabama 10-yard line here on this Chauncey Bowens 43-yard score. Matty, you like him a lot.
I just like the whole running back room of Georgia. But, yeah, I like Bowens and his physicality, and then the rest of the crew to kind of finish it up with all the stuff that they do well. But Bowens is an absolute sledgehammer when he has a football in his hand.
All right, so this is what Georgia fans want to see. A little fight there. Bring it back to a 3-point game. Ty Simpson complete. Who else? Lotsier Brooks shakes a couple of defenders.
Such a strong move and run, man. Right when they needed it.
This is a talented skill group, man. Maybe one of the more talented skill groups in the country, especially with this guy in the edge.
Oh, yes.
Caden Proctor.
What did you say? What did you say when we were watching this? You said what, Matt?
I don't know. Was it a big swear word again?
No. You just said this is amazing.
It was amazing. I love it. I love when offensive coordinators get the offensive line the football. It's awesome.
Gotta love it, too, when Ty Simpson uses his legs. Alabama has momentum into the half.
Yeah.
They lead at 24-14, and they get the ball to start the second half. Wouldn't matter because they wouldn't score. And then the Bulldogs stun the Crimson Tide defense. That's Dylan Bell, who's been a little underutilized, to say the least, this year. A really versatile player for the Bulldogs. He gets them into scoring position, and then Josh McCray on the second effort finds his way into the end zone.
The strength coach is very proud of that right there because, son, this is why we squat, this is why we deadlift, this is why we do push-ups.
24-21 is the score going into the fourth. Alabama is going to win it in Athens. That's Jam Miller returning for the first time here tonight. 33-game home winning streak is snapped as the Tide comes into Athens, Georgia, and takes down the Bulldogs. Look, each team faced their own sort of pressure, I think, in this game, whether it was Kirby Smart coming in. We know the record 1-6 against Alabama, obviously now 1-7. Alabama and Kalen DeBoer have had their own issues going on the road because after that Wisconsin win last season, they're 1-5 on the road with Kalen DeBoer. So huge win for Alabama. I'm not so sure that this is like a must-win for Georgia considering the schedule that they have down the road. But when you look at this game in its totality, Matty, how important was it for Alabama to not only win this game but show, hey, we're competitive this year?
Well, not only competitive, I really do still believe that they are a national championship contender, right, with the skill set that they have. Ty Simpson has been absolutely ridiculous with his accuracy, his ball placement, the play action pass. And that's what's funny about the play action guys. They don't run the ball well at all.
They don't run the ball.
They still fake the run and get explosive passes behind it.
It's great.
Every time you see Ty Simpson turn his back to the defense, just know it's a pass. All right, they're not running it that consistently.
Right.
But his control of this offense, Ryan Grubb, the mixture of formations, the skill group itself, Isaiah Horton is a fantastic addition to that outside group as like that X receiver, that Z receiver. Jeremy Bernard, like I said, a Deebo Samuel-like person as a skill player. He can almost be like a running back / slot receiver, does it all for them. We know how explosive Ryan Williams is. And then, of course, Lotsier Brooks, the young man from New Jersey, making his name within this offense. So the pass protection is getting better. Florida State, hey, thank you. You woke up a sleeping giant in the Alabama Crimson Tide offense. And, hey, Bray Hubbard got called out on social media. Look at how aggressive he is
that point.
since week one.
Made a lot of good plays.
Hey, great motivation for this football team, and they're ready to go. What do you think, Scoob?
Well, first off, Kalen DeBoer, Alabama.
Yeah.
Way to go. 33-game home winning streak for Georgia is now snapped.
Amazing.
Kalen DeBoer is 7-1 versus AP top 10 teams in his head coaching career. 4-1 versus top 5 teams.
Woo.
If they would have lost this game, the heat and the thought around Kalen DeBoer would have become a little bit more negative. Now, I don't think this was a must-win or elimination game for either team. This was a must-compete game. Both teams had to compete. They had to come out of this game and say, it came down to one play. Maybe 1, 2, or 3 plays is what ended up separating us from winning this game. And the problem with Georgia here that they're going to have to get figured out as the season go along is their slow starts. And this has been something that's been haunting them for a long time. Not just this Alabama team that they continue to lose against, but another slow start, 8 for 8 on 3rd down to start the game for Georgia. So it's been a slow start.
And not only that, slow starts defensively and offensively. Tennessee a week ago, they jumped out on Georgia really quickly with their aggressive passing game. The same thing here with Ty Simpson and the Alabama offense, right? They're just aggressive offensively for the starts. So Kirby Smart doing his best to try to mix up some of the defensive looks because they don't really have that premier pass rusher to get after it. They're doing a good job of mixing things up, but it's just not enough for this football team right now that's trying to find their way.
Look, so we got Kirby 1-7 now against Alabama as the head coach of Georgia, but this was his first shot at beating the Tide in Athens.
Right.
The lone win prior to this one over the Tide was the 2021 National Championship game, which really catapulted the Dogs onto that world stage. Saban's gone, so this is no longer a Nick Saban problem.
Nah.
Is this now a Kirby Alabama problem? Is it fair to say that or ask that question? Does Kirby Smart have an Alabama problem?
I mean, I guess so, right? I mean, the stats kind of show it, and really, it's just a bad matchup, I think, overall for Georgia, right? In this sense, too. Kirby played a lot of man against Tennessee because he's trying to stop the run. Well, Alabama doesn't really run the ball or make an effort to run it. But when you don't have the pass rushers that they're used to having on the defensive front or the depth that they used to have, well, what are they going to do? They're going to bring pressure from depth, or they're going to play a lot of zone and just say, hey, let's get a lot of eyes on the quarterback and let's get a lot of coverage sacks. None of those plans really worked effectively because Ryan Grubb, I think, did a great job of controlling the tempo of the game at certain moments, mixing up the plays, giving Ty Simpson a lot of availability within the offense to make aggressive throws down the field, but then also just to take what the defense gives them. I love so far what Georgia's been doing offensively, but the key is really just how can they just get more drive starters early in the football game to generate a little bit more momentum? Right. And that's the key for it right now. Ryan Grubb and them, they seem to have the formula that they need to be successful. The question is just, can you man up man to man with that skill group? Georgia can't. Georgia didn't want to. That's why they played zone. That's why Ty Simpson.
Yeah, and the formula for that Ryan Grubb offense is they air that thing out.
They do.
I mean, they average about 19 air yards or more per play when they're throwing the ball down the field, which is really high, tied for 15th highest in the FBS. But then when you look at the Georgia offense, they lack explosive plays, right? Right now they have the third fewest explosive plays, the third fewest explosive plays in the country. They rarely have explosive plays in terms of 20-plus yards down the field. So I think for this Alabama offense, they know exactly what they want to do. They want to be able to throw the ball. They lack that rushing attack. We've seen that over and over again. 103rd in the FBS, 4.3 yards per rush. They don't really run the ball as much as you would expect from an Alabama offense. But Ryan Grubb comes in. He says, we're going to throw the ball. We're going to put everything on Ty Simpson's shoulders. This Georgia offense likes to run the ball a lot more. I thought Gunnar Stockton would air it out, be a little bit more efficient. You would see them throw it deeper down the field, which they haven't been able to do. It was a knock on them in the Tennessee game. He kind of proved us wrong by getting the ball down the field, but still 5.9 yards per attempt, third lowest in the FBS this season. So that's where Georgia lacked explosiveness, but still a pretty close game for Georgia. You don't leave feeling terrible, but you definitely got to fix that.
Yeah, and really for Alabama defensively and for Gunnar Stockton, right? Early on in the season, we're saying Gunnar, dink and dunk offense. And then Tennessee, all right, the lights go off and he just tears them apart. Well, Alabama, they want to play a little bit more conservative. A lot of their sacks and the pressures that they get on the quarterback are 3 and 4 seconds into the play. So what does that mean? That means that they're covering really well in the back end. right? And they want to play a lot of zone. They want to keep everything in front of them. That's why the Jackson touchdown, or the Colby Young touchdown over Jackson, was such a big play, because Alabama's literally saying to their team, hey, keep everything in front of you, and let's make Georgia and Gunnar Stockton nickel and dime us down the football field. So that really is just why I think Alabama, offensively and defensively, really match up extremely well with Georgia, especially with Georgia's lack of defensive talent in the front seven right now.
So let's push this conversation forward a little bit here, because I think it is worth reminding everybody at home. We are in the 12-team playoff era, and I think people are still getting their minds around it. So Georgia fans, you are not out of it. Just like Alabama fans were down in the dumps after that opening week loss to Florida State. Hey, both of these teams could easily not only make the SEC championship, but make the college football playoff this year. You look ahead to Georgia's schedule. What I want to point out is a lot of the tough games are at home. Although you'd see a team like Mississippi State. We saw how they played against against Tennessee earlier today. You see Texas coming to Georgia. So
Ole Miss is
a
game.
tough matchup for them.
I mean,
right?
Georgia Tech is going to be a tough game as well, especially towards the end of the season. We saw, 7, 8 overtimes last year when they went head-to-head. So, like to your point, Sam, they have these games at home, but what I've seen this season, your home field advantage isn't necessarily going to play as much of an advantage as you think. We just saw Oregon win on the road, right? We just saw Alabama beat Georgia on the road. Nick Saban said it today at College Game Day. Yes, the crowd and the noise is going to be a factor, but they're not going to affect the football game if you don't let them. So for Georgia, just handle your business. You got to be able to establish a little more balance on the offensive side of the ball. Control that slow start. I'll say it over and over again. The slow starts, they need to do something about that. They stopped the bleeding because it was getting bad. So Alabama started the game 8 for 8 on third down, and then the rest of the way they went 2 for 7. So they stopped it and slowed things down. But at that point, they had already jumped on top.
They already had the lead. They already had control of the football game and the tempo of the game, and that's where for Georgia going forward. I mean, I think I look at that Auburn football game to start with. That's a difficult matchup for them, because Auburn, if they make a more concerted effort to run the football, they could be a problem. Their front seven defensively, Auburn's, is very talented. We saw that against Texas A&M again today. Ole Miss, another talented football team, of course, with Trinidad Chambliss as their quarterback now, as their number one signal caller. He's going to be a problem for Georgia as well, too. They're going to have to really scheme up a way to keep him within the pocket, and that means they're probably going to pressure him or play a lot of man coverage. And with Caden Lee, Daquan Wright, and Deuce Alexander on the outside, that is going to give Trinidad and this talented offense a lot of opportunities against Georgia. So Georgia's got to solve a lot of challenges each and every week to find ways to win, because they aren't the better team on paper this year each and every time they set on the field.
Let me ask you a couple questions, Matt, because at the beginning of the season, I was critical of Ty Simpson in the way that he has played as of late. I mean, he's showing me to be one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. He's a great decision maker. He can use his legs. He throws a great ball. He knows the offense well, and it seems like Ryan Grubb knows him well. In terms of quarterback right now in the country, where would you even put Ty Simpson? Because I feel like he's playing the best ball.
Man, it's tough to say. I think right now, all of us at home, we are so blessed. There are so many good quarterbacks in college football right now, and they're not some of the names that maybe we expected. And this is what's so great, I think, about like the modern day NIL world and the transfer portal. I mean, of course, I go back to Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, how phenomenal is the story of that? Like, this is a Division II football player, and you know what? Today, he was one of the best football players on the field. So for all the young players out there right now that are seeking that Division I scholarship and all that, hey, go to college, play well. Doesn't matter where you're at. If you're good, the other schools will find you. Opportunities will present themselves later on in your career. Trinidad Chambliss, I think, is a great example of that, and also just how talented the whole country is at the skill group right now.
And I'll say this: we haven't seen a Heisman quarterback from Alabama in a little bit, right? So now that Ty Simpson gets his wins and performs to this level, they have a pretty hefty schedule to go the rest of the way. If he continues to play like this, there's going to be a lot of eyes and a lot of voters watching him play ball. Keep an eye.
The opportunities are certainly there. And just to put a cap on this conversation,